welcome back to another episode of Almost Paradise, a Bachelor pod with two hosts that are just here for paradise. I'm Sammie, and this is Kate, and we can't wait for paradise. We're so exhausted.
My name is Kate. I need a date to paradise. I cannot wait. It's gonna be great. I want a date. I don't know how to ride my fate.
Yeah. No more racist contestants, please. I'm Sammie. I am a dating coach for singles. And let me tell you, this season has been wild with lots of juicy things for us to break down.
Oh, so many things to break down. I'm Kate. I'm a psychology enthusiast. I'm a big fat lesbian, and I'm still coming to you from Texas. And I watched this week's episode with my unwoke sister and her unwoke husband. I love them so much, but I got so much tea, you guys. I was like fully in my bubble as like my cool little feminist self. And I was like, oh, are we throwing around the words dumb hoe today?
Yeah, we wild. Yeah, so we pick up where we left off with MJ and Jasenia in their very heated convo.
Remember when I said Jasenia was like the teacher's pet and I wanted her to be my mom? Yeah. That was episode 1. It still stands after this.
It aged well.
I want her to still be my mom.
Yeah, I mean, she was a very concerned mother at a PTA meeting in this moment, using MJ's full name, Meredith.
Listen, I'm not trying to like come for the trans community, but I was like, did she just fucking dead name her? She fully was just like, Meredith?
Right, you? Meredith? And she goes, oh, cute. Very cute. Jasenia.
If someone called me Caitlin in an upsetting way, I would have lost it. If anyone listening wants to make me mad, you call me Katie and I will kill you.
Yeah, I'm not interested in Sam for me because it usually comes from men, and it usually comes from them being hyper masculine and being uncomfortable calling me something cute like Sammie.
Yeah, men don't like to say Sammie, Nikki, Ronnie, yeah. All my friends. I don't allow people to call me Katie, but all my other friends end in an E.
It's just very cute. We're just cuties.
We're just cuties. MJ, I mean, listen, it's like you pull a weed and then like 10 weeds come up in its place. So it's like we got some like restitution. We got Victoriana out of the house, and like MJ's this like leftover remnant of like the old guard is what I'll say.
Yeah, and for her to really double down,
triple down.
Yeah, she tripled.
That was a KFC double down for sure.
Fully just big old sloppy mess where
I just see a messy man.
Yeah, she has a moment in her confessional where she starts to get emotional and cry, and she takes a deep breath, fluffs her hair, and goes, that was weak bitch moment, and now I'm back. And there's so much wrong with that statement.
I mean, crying and being in your feelings as a very emotional person does not mean you're weak. That is toxic positivity, Meredith.
Yeah, Mare. Can I call you Mare?
I'm gonna call you Mare.
Yeah, I mean, it's when you hold everything deep inside, it builds up. And I believe that type of stress is what causes things like cancer and other horrible maladies.
And also just being a fucking asshole, MJ. Like it had to come out in another emotion, and it was anger and rage and jealousy and pettiness.
Yeah,
but also cancer.
Yeah, but it wasn't a healthy portrayal of emotion. And most self-help books will tell you to just experience whatever emotional experience that you're going through and get to the bottom of where that emotion lies to be able to move through it. And
exactly. We don't need to rationalize our feelings. We don't need to call them weak or strong. They're just happening to you. And that's it. This episode actually was a pretty nice unpacking of feeling those emotions. We get a weak bitch moment from MJ, and then we get Piper in her one-on-one kind of melting down about not having that like talked about emotional support and speaking through your feelings and how that's really hard for her. And I just want to say, like, MJ has a negative weak bitch moment. Piper wants to do better. So like, let's take those two stories and just everyone cry all the time.
yeah.
Let it out.
One of the things I don't like from Matt is he constantly has to put his hand on a girl's hip when he was guiding Jasenia to the couch. He like had his hand on her hip the whole way to the couch. Like she didn't, it just felt like a weird,
like a weird controlling
yeah.
ish, maybe.
And he does it to the girls as he walks them out as well. And
if I was dumped and then someone wanted to put their hand around and like be cute on my waist, no,
I would just be like, no, thank you. I don't need that.
I would be like, don't fucking touch me, and then I would be a crazy person on the show.
I'm a professional podcaster. But yeah, it's just it's a weird thing that he does. I haven't paid attention to if other bachelors are doing it, but yeah, that's definitely one of his isms and behaviors that I'm like, I don't like that.
I'm not a fan. It reminds me honestly of, this is like a deep cut from the Gilmore Girls, but Rory, the actor that played Rory, had never acted before, so she didn't know how to hit her mark. Like she didn't know where her mark was and where the lighting was. So Lauren Graham, who played her mom, you can see in like the first few episodes, she literally has her arm around Rory's shoulders and is like dragging her around the set and then like putting her where her spot needs to be. And maybe that's it. Maybe they're like, Matt, we can tell you that the women have to go to this spot and you have to take responsibility for it.
But in a way, yeah, like, I don't know if that can be just in the show of, I mean, you're already saying, let me walk you out. I don't know why you.
Yeah, what kind of lighting do you need to get? They figure that out in the SUV.
Yeah, it's just, and then I maybe for Jasenia I can allow it, but it was weird. He was holding her hip the whole way while she was trying to sit on the couch. It just looked like a really awkward handoff, and it's like, here, why don't you sit here? I'll sit here. Like it just needed to be a quick sentence.
It feels very, because I'm in with my nephew. This is how we pass him off between like me and my sister and his dad. We like do two fingers. So he's 8 months, so he's grabbing his little hands on our fingers and we're just like, here we go, and like walking him around the house. That's Matt's version.
Yeah, like just hold her hand, and if you need to be close to her, just with, I don't know, just like weird energy. I don't know if I would like that.
It feels a little controlling. Like it might just be physical touch, but like because they're walking around and he's moving them to a certain spot, it could be a little piece of control with Jiggy, with the baby. It is a little control.
With the babies, not full grown women's.
Yeah. All the ladies in the house.
Yeah, that's just the one thing. We of course send MJ packing, and
very proud of Matt. I was concerned.
We didn't,
especially because she carried over into a second episode. I was worried that it was going to be like he thought he was, you know, being cool and protecting the women, but he does have his shortcomings. But guess what? I think they showed him the tape.
Roll the tape.
MJ was loaded in that SUV and she's confused. She's so deep in her denial that she has no clue that her varsity JV comment was rude, that like, anyway, bye MJ.
I don't even think that she even like took accountability that she even said it.
No, she shut it down. She went deeply, deeply, deeply into denial immediately, which was why Jasenia was so plucked. She was like, we were all there. We all heard you. What are you trying to get out of this? What's the point?
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the point?
Same. And I was actually shocked. I thought that he was going to send Jasenia home as well as kind of a, let's just squash all this.
Anytime there's a 2-on-1, if you're ever a person who's like pulled into a 2-on-1, you're obviously not the wife. Like, he's not gonna put you through a 2-on-1 if he wants you to be his wife.
You're expendable.
Or vice versa, husband or whoever the choice is. Like,
yeah.
I would love to see a Bachelor data stat of who has been on a 2-on-1 and who has anyone from the 2-on-1 have they gotten the rose, the final rose. I need to know.
Yeah, who got the ring?
So then we move forward. This episode, we have a rose ceremony, you guys.
I know. We're already emotionally exhausted in 5 minutes of this episode.
We don't get a cocktail party, which like triggers Serena C immediately. So it's like we get MJ out of the house and then like 10 more rageful ladies pop up in her place. So Serena C is the next one to be like misassigning blame with her anger.
Yeah, she immediately points finger at Katie.
You brought this up.
Katie,
which like I will have to say, Matt never needed to mention to the women who was the one who said the house was toxic. Also, anyone who's like going against saying the house was toxic at this point, I'm like, see yourself out because you obviously don't give a shit about other people.
Yeah. Yeah,
Sorry.
Exactly. I mean, anybody who is going to be upset at other people bringing this stuff up, it obviously means to me that you also participated in that behavior and you're just scared that you're going to be another name.
Yeah, you're going to be the one that's thrown out. And so, I mean, that was disappointing. Obviously, I love Serena C. She's our SF girl. She's got them sparkly boots and those cute glasses. But people, again, are coming to her page and writing like really heinous shit on her Instagram. So if you're one of those people doing that, check yourself. Like, that doesn't make you any better than Serena C being mad at Katie for the cancellation of the cocktail party.
Yeah.
But then we get the roses called out. Maggie.
Rip.
Are you guys Maggie? Okay? I just like, I mean, God bless, we get her on Paradise. If I don't see any more Maggie on my TV, I'm gonna be so sad. I'll be happy if she's like, no, thank you. I don't want to put myself through that. And I'm happy for her beautiful, fun anti-Bachelor life. But like, I want to be her best friend. I want to see her on TV. Funny. I want to see her get 10 million followers on Instagram and make all the ad money. Maggie is McQueen. Love her. Would date her, would marry her. Love her little chokers with the charms. Very Britney Spears.
She's so good. Yeah, we lose Brittany, Ryan, Maggie, and then of course MJ earlier. Ryan has a really deeply emotional moment, and I initially was like, wow, you knew this guy for a week and maybe had one conversation with him. It was just a lot of emotion, and then I had to really sit with that and figure out why I thought she was having such an emotional reaction. And it's probably coming out of deep insecurity, feeling robbed of an opportunity because she hasn't had time to actually get to know him. She really got no TV time at all. And all of this feels very random and feeling out of control. So this could just be a deep emotional flashback to some prior abandonment in her life. And so I think a lot of us, I know I've done this in the past where we love to watch the ride home where the girl's just like losing her shit and she's been there for 2 days.
Yeah, and you're like, what do you even think you're doing right now? What are you actually emotional about?
Yeah. And it's most of the time, it's not even about the person. Those girls will go back and be like, God, I wish I didn't cry over this situation. But it's not about the guy, and it's more so speaking to something deeper happening. So I think we just need to be extra.
Well, and rejection is honestly very hard. We don't have, I don't know if y'all, I know you, Sammie, have watched Love on the Spectrum. It is one of our favorite shows. But like the people on the spectrum, the autistic people that are dating have had so much therapy just because they've had to figure out like how to interact with people in the world. And like we as normal Americans with shit healthcare, I would guess that none of us have had. I mean, it's really hard to find that like you have had therapy and you can come to terms with being really sad and having a hard time with rejection and not understanding and not taking it as like a slight on your character. Like that's really hard. I was dumped at some point a couple months ago in COVID, and she fully was like, this has nothing to do with you. You're amazing. I am just not ready to take that next step. And I am still like, what did I do wrong? Like, I wonder if I didn't say this, or I wonder if I didn't do this. Like, it is still fully back on me of like, I've done something wrong. So we all need some like autistic level therapy. I fully need that because like, I'm not well.
Those are absolutely like learned responses from previous relationships or interactions with people, or seeing other people react to what a rejection looks like is like automatically assuming. I mean, we joke about it when somebody says it's not you, it's me, and we always go, it's always
person. It's not like,
but sometimes it really is like most of the time
it is always you, because like the way that you've projected onto somebody else, the way that you've taken in that other person's response, like that it has nothing to do with the other person. Like I'm just sad. I'm sad for Ryan. I know she wanted this to be like a fun experience. Yeah. We also got, after the Dylan Barber, we got someone, I mean, I'm sure we got a lot of add-ons from other people in the franchise. We got, I don't even know this woman's name. I think she was on, I want to say she was on Brad's season, but maybe I'm confusing her with Ashley Spivey. She was on night one. She got sent home night one, and everyone laughed at her because she cried.
Oh, I remember this girl. Yeah.
I think I sent you the thing this week. And she was like, you know, all night, all the first cocktail night, I was talking to my producers and like, I would love to meet Brad. Please let me meet Brad. I think we could be a really good match. Like, can you give me time with Brad? And instead of giving time with Brad, they interviewed her and they were like, okay, what do you think your hangups are in relationships? And she's like, oh, well, my dad died. And oh, well, my friend abandoned me. I'm reiterating, I don't think this is correct. Like, but she had trauma that she discussed, and then she never got time with the lead, and so she got sent home. And then as they were doing the exit interview, everyone has to do an exit interview, and we've seen this on Unreal too. Like, y'all, if you haven't watched Unreal, I watch that as true fact. Not, but I have viewed that as fact. And they were like, oh, so no, you didn't get time with Brad. And how does that make you feel? And she's like, it's good. It's fine. I didn't know him and I want to go home. And like, that's whatever. And they're like, okay, but when your dad died and like your friend rejected you, what kind of trauma did that bring? And then she was like, what the fuck? Why are you bringing up this stuff? And so they take that little clip and now she's crying over Brad.
Now she's a crazy stalker girl.
Yeah. Which leads us to, who the fuck is Heather?
We get an intro to our very own crazy stalker chick this season with the most planned entrance of all. We have the dramatic entrance of Heather at the gate saying, I need to speak to Chris Harrison. And Chris Harrison coming out in his camper dad outfit. Heather!
Tech vest.
What the hell? Heather!
Like, he had no idea that production hadn't called her and said, we would love you to come to Nemacolin, and we're sending you a minivan. Come here now.
The worst actors in the world.
Oh my gosh. That poor guy that worked at the security gate that had to like go along with this like dumb production that they're doing.
Yeah.
He's like, we're closed because have you heard it's COVID? Also, Heather, wear a mask when you pull up and talk to the security man.
No mask because she needed her full glamour moment. And she says, oh, Hannah told me all about Matt that she hung out with because Tyler is his best friend and she dated Tyler on her season and said that we really need to meet. So I thought I would wait until almost the end of this process to show up, 2-week quarantine potentially, and then I truly just want to meet Matt.
I mean, let's just say we don't stamp of when Heather actually entered. Like, we can't back check Chris Harrison's outfit. She could have shown up at the beginning and they could have just made her sit on ice this whole time. But what we get as the audience is Heather looking fucking batshit.
Mm-hmm.
Locked in her quarantine room, like, Matt. And I think, honestly, like, it feels like Dylan Barber's tweet storm was a little bit in response to this. He was saying, like, production knew absolutely that, like, Heather doesn't have a chance with Matt and fully leaned in and asked her to come and set this up. Like,
and took whatever little snippets of her in the room made
looking kooky,
crazy.
being crazy. My sister, I mean, honestly, every time she enters the screen, she's jarring and obnoxious. And so my sister was like, who is this dumb hoe? And I was like, I thought we got rid of Victoria last week, girl. But like, if you don't understand, if you don't look at this with like the weird eye of like, you know, the bullshit behind the scenes, not that I know, I just pretend I know. I just assume.
Conjectures, yeah.
I'm a conspiracy theorist when it comes to production on the show. Absolutely.
Yeah, on a lot of reality shows. I mean,
on
it is
a reality show. Yeah, like people are working hard to keep their jobs. They're doing a lot of shit. But like, poor Heather. She's gonna be back next week. We're not gonna see good footage from her. And these poor women. The poor women that are like getting her entering in on the 7th rose ceremony of the series, like that's fucked.
Yeah. And they already did not react well the first time this happened, and they react worse this time. Like,
well, especially because she's already been on the show, so now to them it can be like this ungrateful narrative of like, oh, yeah, you've had your time, you've tried to date the person, you've done your thing, and like, I also want to say, let's just say this timing is correct, and all, you know, and production didn't have a hand in it. Let's just, Hannah Brown is a bad friend that she waited until this long to tell Heather to get her ass to Nemacolin.
I heard he was going to be the Bachelor, and he's already started filming his season, so maybe you should get to Nemacolin, girl.
You better hurry. And so Heather's story is like, the producers called me and asked me to come here, but what she has to say is, my best friend Hannah Brown told me that I would be super matched with Matt, but like she didn't try to match me with Matt before he was the Bachelor. This is not her voice. I just feel like I got to give you guys all the dumb hoe vibes of the world.
Yeah, it's just it's hard. It's difficult. Tim's back. Guess who's back in the house?
Tim is back in the house. Tim's looking for dinner is what he's looking for.
We'll finish up soon, Timmy Tims.
Tim, we have 2 more hours of pod to record.
Yeah, don't worry about it, buddy.
You won't starve.
We have a confrontation between Katie and Serena, and Katie is fully over everything.
Katie's like, I have done my part. I have put in my time. Do not come for me anymore. I would be tired. I'm tired for her.
Have none of you learned anything? Do not come after me because you will not win.
No, I'm too smart for this bullshit. And she's fully over it. She represents herself well. I will say she comes in hot with the anger, which like doesn't look great.
No, it doesn't look great, but I understand because I would be fully fed up of these girls just trying to pick a fight with me. I mean, Serena picking a fight with Katie feels very not genuine, where
so very rooted in Serena's own insecurity. So it's like hard to even.
And it's almost like, Serena, you've been the last rose consistently for a very long time.
Once Marilyn left for those good tears, like you became the good tears, hoping for a rose.
So it's, you know, you must know at some point you're on borrowed time. So now it's a matter of how do I get the most TV time? And Katie seems to be getting a lot of TV time. The girls that fight Katie get TV time. So let me make up a reason to fight Katie. And Katie's response is, if you have an issue with not getting enough time with Matt, not having a rose ceremony, you need to take it up with Matt. I wasn't the one who decided those things. I really didn't have a hand in any of that, to be honest. I was doing what I needed to do for me, and you need to do that as well. So
exactly. Serena C does not like how this goes. So she goes back to like the rest of the women and is like, wow, we just had a big fight, which like is hilarious because Serena C walked in and was like, we need to have a big fight.
Yeah.
And then she's like, I can't even believe that Katie would fight me like that. And then she tries to like wrap up and Katie's like, no need to whisper. I can hear you. And also stop speaking for me because you're doing a bad job. And like, can I get that as my bumper sticker on my tramp stamp area?
Yeah. Well, because Serena goes, well, she told me she's not here for the right reasons. And Katie's like, when did I say that? And she's well, that was the summary of that whole conversation.
That is your feeling from the chat that you had, Serena. That's just not the actual facts. Like,
I mean, it's just what you want that reality to be because you obviously feel threatened by Katie.
Well, and also just insecure with your standing with Matt, which is acceptable. There are 12 women, maybe 11 women in this house. Like,
yeah.
It's a lot, but then we get the producers are thrilled because then they get to do like the little fun part of like who's going to get the one-on-one Serena versus Katie kind of deal. And Serena sees the last name called out on the group date. So we know that she's not getting the one-on-one and Katie's going to have that time. I don't have a ton of things to say on the group date except.
Oh, we didn't even talk about Piper's date.
Oh my God. Piper's date was like a trauma nightmare in the woods. Poor thing.
My favorite part is in the G-Wagon when they're driving there. Matt's like, what do you think we're going to be doing? And she goes, I think we're going to get mauled by a bear. And he
was like, well, actually.
That's going to happen. Hooray, you figured it out. That was probably the cutest interaction.
I think they have such like cute chemistry. I feel like she's super open with him, even though like she's like, it's hard for me and I'm not a good person at talking about my feelings.
Not a good person.
Like, I'm not a good person, Matt. She's like, I'm not good at this. This is hard for me. But like they have such a cute time. A carny date is not my ideal, like cute, fun.
Them walking in the woods at night would be my literal nightmare. I thought they were going on serial killer date where.
What is a serial killer date?
I know. Serial killer date to me is those things that you sign a waiver for where you go to some remote cabin in the woods and then these people get to do whatever they want to scare the ever
It's like The Strangers, the movie IRL.
Basically,
that is the scariest scary movie I have ever seen. You know why? Because that is just real life people doing real life shitty things.
Yeah. I mean, you can pay people to literally torture you. There are lots of videos online of these places. That
sounds like some white people bullshit. That's all I'm going to say.
It absolutely is. And I do not understand it. I would never, ever do it. But yeah,
white supremacy is very real if we have to sign a contract and pay money to be traumatized by an outside source. Just
yeah. I mean, there's lots of therapy is cheaper, guys. Please don't put yourself through that.
Someone was like, can you imagine storming the Capitol when like all you really need is therapy? And I was like, storming the Capitol is cheaper. Yeah. We can't afford that therapy.
I know. So that's where I thought this was going, was that it was like, turn on the light switch. And I was like, oh God, they're going to be in this remote cabin. If this isn't like twinkle lights in the woods and a beautiful dinner, I'm not here for it. And it was a carnival and a ghost carnival. There were no workers.
I didn't see not one carny at that carnival. I didn't see not one producee at this producible. Okay. Where were the people? My sister was like, I'm sorry, why are you scared? Like, you should be scared for this date. And I was like, well, because there's like 30 people off camera that we can't see. It's not actually scary. I also imagine like when all the lights were off, like the producers were like, shh, 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 or they're coming, they're gonna like,
Yeah, I would have just been
it's so
like, do not
silly.
put me on any of those rides because I don't trust them, the safety of those. They're built so quickly with not a lot of safety
Rubber
regard.
bands and a hope and a prayer, truly.
Just, yeah, cross your fingers. I'd be like, point me to the funnel cakes. I want a churro.
I want a cotton candy.
Yeah, cotton candy. They ate cotton candy on the date. And then I would want to do the little like carnival games with like what they
I will say, so like you and I are Sacramento queens. The California State Fair takes place in Sacramento.
I
Growing
never was
up,
at the Midway.
you're not a fair girl.
No, I just hung out with the animals.
Oh, the animals are the best part of the fair. I saw like a baby calf being born. I held a baby pig one time.
Oh my God, the pigs.
Oh, currently at Cal Expo, where the fair is usually held, is our Sacramento drive-through COVID testing site, and it feels so fucking dystopian. I drove through to get my test, and I was like, I was over at that stand getting a drink, and I was so wasted at the California State Fair last year, right over there eating a fried Oreo, and now I'm here getting my brain tickled. This is not okay.
I know, it's weird. So yeah, I was never at the Midway. I was just all about the food and the animals, and maybe if they had games, you would see me at those. Because I love competition.
This is a cute date though. I feel like a fair is like a cute, especially when it's like a fair all to yourself.
Oh
That's
yeah.
very fun. But I loved their dinner more. I feel like their conversation was really good. I mean, Piper, we already kind of got into it, but she was like, I wish my mom would say that she's proud of me. And I wish that people would, she wants those like words of affirmation, but she hasn't been able to flex that muscle because it's not an interaction that she's had from like people that she loves. And so she's like, I want to be that for you, but just so you know, it's going to take time. And he's like, oh, we'll work on it together. I think they're so cute.
Yeah, there's a lot of really good chemistry with those two.
Also, I'm jumping ahead, but at the next rose ceremony, Abigail is wearing a very familiar emerald gown, deep V, beaded. And then I saw on the Insta stories that was Piper's dress that she's sharing with the girls. So this is like the salmon blazer between the Hannah B's men that they kind of like passed around. The emerald gown, green emerald gown is the new salmon blazer. I just love these women being friends. I also saw a meme that was like, someone check on Abigail now that Maggie is gone. And it was like 4 screen grabs of them just like being the cutest friends together. I hope they end up together on Paradise.
I do too. Yeah, it was a very sweet date. And just like, yeah, I think you and I just love when the women actually are supporting each other.
I like when they're friendly. I like when they're gay, but mostly I like when they're friendly.
And when they're also kissing cousins.
And also when they're making out with each other.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's what I like.
Yeah,
I like
sorry.
what I like.
Yeah, so then we get into our group date, which is bowling, which I think is very fun.
You're a bowl girl. I'm not a bowler girl, but I loved all the jokes. Like they made it a competition, and the girls, the blue team that loses, they're like, Matt, we know you want a good bowler as your wife. Like, yeah, we're aware, obvious. So we're gonna go home because
we don't
obviously we're not good bowlers.
Yeah, I mean, it's very cute. Like the beginning of the day, everybody's having a really good time, and even Kit says like, "This is the most fun group date we've been on." And then
you can tell that all these women like genuinely like each other. They get along. We don't have any in the moments of like, what a slore. All these losers can't even put 3 fingers in a ball. Like, I'm so glad these women are gone.
Yeah. But then fucking Chris Harrison can't have any joy in Nemacolin because he enters and says, we're going to make this a competition and the losers have to take
they have to take
a sad long walk in the rain back home.
You have to wear these ugly Chandler Bing shirts across the board.
I hate
Matt is fully not even like on a team and is in a Chandler Bing shirt. I was gagged. The fashions are back.
I'm not into the bowler. But yes, I think there's some editing to make it look like it's a close game, but it is the pink teams to lose. It's a little suspect though. And
no, the pink team won.
No, I know.
It's the blue teams to lose.
No. It was the pink teams to lose because they were ahead. They were winning.
Gotcha.
So if they fucked up, it was their own fault. It wasn't really blue team showing up.
They were set. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Words are hard.
And then it all rests on poor little Abigail
she's been through too much.
And she's already having a rough time. She's like, I can't lose 2 group dates in a row. I can't get sent back home twice. And she does. She got her balls in. We're so sorry.
I'm gonna put bumpers on for those girls. I request bumpers. I'm a 32-year-old bowling child. Okay.
I have moments of being a really good bowler and moments of just being the absolute worst. And it all matters how much I care, what my pose is at the end. If I don't treat it like a runway and then do a deep lunge with an ending like a gymnast, I will not score.
If I don't do like the dumbest looking celebratory dance in my silly shoes on that slippery floor, it's a loss for me. Doesn't matter how many points I get.
If I don't dive head first down that aisle and knock the pins over with my hands, I won't hit.
You know what actually fucked me up? Grease too.
Oh,
Let's
absolutely.
Let's tonight.
Yeah.
That I was raised on that fantasy, and every time I go to the bowling alley, it is not like that production number. And fuck it, bowling sucks because it is not Grease 2. Let's bowl tonight.
But the neon bowling? No, it's not. It's blacklight bowling.
Yes, blacklight bowling. It's called glow
bowling. Glow bowling. That is where it's at.
I will say my ideal bowling game is to bowl like 2 frames and then get drunk and eat snacks and forget that I'm bowling.
Yeah, I just want to keep throwing the ball till my arm hurts.
My high school grad night was at like a bowling alley with like, different other things. But we got bored of the different other things and ended up just like bowling for a couple of hours. And I woke up after my nap and I was like, oh, my arm is sore from hours of bowling.
Of lifting that ball and then throwing it. Yeah. But then
I saw a really funny meme that was like pre-COVID, we all thought we could go put 3 fingers in a shared bowl a ball that we don't even know who's touched them, and then eat fried food like we are gods.
Yeah. There was a moment where
nice
I wanted
to see these girls all having fun and not thinking of the COVID germs.
Yeah. They had a full spread of little fun snacks and nachos and wings and like pizza, like everything you want. It was very fun. But then the girls who lost had to take the long, sad walk back in the rain to the home.
And also the long, sad walk back to the date.
Yeah. Then they had to hike their asses back over. They're crying while they're waiting. Like they feel fully rejected, and then only to be lifted up again that they do get to go on the cocktail party.
Yeah.
I hate this because it's an emotional roller coaster for both parties. Tell them.
Poor Chelsea was so excited. She was like, I only have to do my date with 4 women. Like, this is a dream. I'll actually get to like be myself and tell a funny story. And then Matt was like,
you thought wrong.
The women I actually like was on the losing team, so they're all coming back.
Yeah, sorry.
Why didn't they could have done an MVP and he could have named the one woman that he wanted.
Or no, I feel like there were more.
It was a really good group of ladies that went back to the house. We had Bree, Rachel, Abigail, some of my fun ones that I really like. Serena C.
Yeah, Kit. I just think that they should have told them right at the end of the bowling date, like, oh, we told you you're going home. Haha, you get to come on the date. But these girls are going to the winners will be able to get the rose, but I do want to spend time with all of you so that there's no like weird
Yeah,
roller
you can
coaster
be here, but like
expectation.
you're not included. Which is, I mean, what happened? He ended up giving Mish the rose, which like I'm happy. She's the only one left of this like new batch of ladies. We definitely don't get enough screen time with her, but I just really think she's so fun and
Yeah.
so cool. And he loves it. She's an athlete. Like they have that in common.
Competitive.
Yeah, very cute. Love Mish. So she's safe. She's got a rose. And then since Serena C did not get the card, we obviously know it's time for Katie. And the best part about this episode.
Here's what I think is frustrating about these. Sorry to like kill your thunder. These group dates, when they have the one-on-one time, they're not all of them utilize this time correctly. Like instead of going into it, a lot of them go, "Oh, I hate this process. I'm really struggling. Like take that time to actually get to know him instead of just like
Yeah.
making it about him liking you. Maybe ask him some questions about him and really try to find, as we learned on dating on the spectrum, ask questions and try to find similarities and
We want to find a
connect.
common ground so we can build a strong foundation from the things that we both like.
Yeah, and connect. And then you can decide, oh, is this somebody that I see myself with, instead of like blindly going forward and just wanting to compete for a guy that you may not even want to be with.
Totally. But I will say, I mean, Brittany and Ryan both went home this week, but they did get some like cute, juicy time with Matt at the rose ceremony last week when he was like sussing out who's the bad one, who's the not bad one. And so maybe that was like the only thing that stuck in Chelsea's mind of like, I kind of have to be like, this is hard and I need your support and I need your love. But like what we have learned is
Went
that Matt
home.
only wants to give the support and the love back to the women that he actually likes. So like Brittany's gone.
Yeah.
Ryan's
Ryan's
gone. Chelsea didn't get the rose. She's not gone yet, but like I don't see that working out great for her.
She hasn't really, I mean, I think in the show's eyes, she may have used all of her material already with the hair and just the things that they could mine from them.
Oh yeah,
Not
they were like, we got your black trauma,
so
so
thank you.
now we
You,
have nothing left.
yeah, goodbye. So it's not looking great for
I
her.
will also say we didn't cover this, but apparently Matt did have like a very nice and supportive reaction to her story about the hair, where he like commiserated and talking about him growing up black and how his hair was like talked about and all this stuff. But like, of course, we don't get to see that. We don't get like a two-way street of like understanding. We just hear like one-sided trauma and move
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. Okay,
I'm
now
so
you can go
annoyed.
into being excited about the news.
No, you don't need to apologize because literally I interrupt you constantly. I just don't
I
know
was
what to do
like,
with my
wait,
face.
before we go into this,
I just froze. I was like,
I know,
uh.
I know you were so excited, but I wanted to say that before you got to go fully into
No,
this
we got to talk
moment.
about it. And also, if we got to talk about the women making bad choices about what they want to talk about, did Chelsea say that briefly and that's all they showed and they got into good conversation later? You know what I mean? Like,
I
was
mean,
that
it
just like
seems
a
like
fun
they only
storyline
get,
for her or what?
I mean, it only seems like they get like 5 to 15 minutes a piece.
Truly, they interviewed Abigail, and you can tell that the interviewer is like, well, what do you think? Like, have you not just had enough time? She's like, it's not that I haven't had enough time. I don't have any time. Like,
Yeah.
he gave me the first impression rose, and he keeps like tugging his ear at me, and he keeps giving me another rose at the ceremony, but like, she doesn't know who he is,
She
vice
lost the
versa.
last group date. She lost this group date. I mean, yeah,
I think he actually got the last group date rose, but the one before she lost, but still, I mean, she's like, I need a one-on-one or nothing. And these, like, they know where their standing is based on what production wants to do with them. And I think Abigail knows that, like, if she's not getting a one-on-one, they, I mean, that's just hard. It's really hard. And like, relationships and dating are tricky. Can you imagine having a producer in the mix being like, You're
I
not
have
going to
to
have
make
fun
good
with this
TV.
person because I don't give a shit about you. Like, I just feel so bad for
Unless,
Abigail. She's
yeah,
so good.
unless you
And
can give me anything else about this storyline that we're creating for you, you become
yeah, they were
expendable.
like, you've unpacked all your cochlear implant trauma. What do you need a one-on-one for? And she's like, oh, I don't know, to meet the Bachelor.
And they're like, ooh, you really
Nah.
thought, oh, you thought that you were gonna get the boy. Oh,
Oh, that's cute. Yeah. I mean, I just feel so bad for Abigail. But then we do get into the one-on-one and we meet, not meet, we see again Tyler C. This is all I've wanted. My little horny body has just wanted Matt James and Tyler C to be in the same room together. I want to see if there's like an oopsie doopsie finger slip in the butt. Like, oh,
they're playing pool. Maybe it gets a little
let me just help you
frisky.
with that little angle here. I mean, listen, all I want, I think the sign of any good friendship is that everyone thinks y'all are gay together. And I know they're gay together. I
I
feel
mean,
it.
his roommate, come
I
on,
feel
that's
it
the
deep
oldest
into
trick.
my labies that these babies are gay together. And
I mean, the
I want that
chemistry.
OnlyFans, so now I want it immediately.
The chemistry is undeniable between them. And I mean, come
Yeah.
on.
He's
Like,
like, I wish I got a nice heart to heart with my best friend Tyler C before every date. It puts me in like the best headspace. And it's like, well, yeah, because y'all are in love.
yeah,
He goes,
yeah,
I know I don't have to care about these women because I got my main man back at home. Because we're in
yeah.
love.
I mean, he's not here for the right reasons, obviously, because he has something at home. He already has a boyfriend.
And his name is Tyler C. And he's so hot. I forgot how much I loved his like dumb little twang. I am
I'm not
horny for
attracted
Tyler.
to Tyler.
Oh, I
I'm
am
I'm
so
fully in
I
the
want to be in that
minority.
throuple with he and Matt so bad.
I
Like
know
he's a third.
I'm fully in the minority. I I I don't know. I'm not, for whatever reason. I'm just,
That's okay because that's
maybe
less
it's because he's
competition
from,
for me.
maybe it's because he's from Florida.
Listen, Linda, listen.
Listen. But yeah, I'm just in the minority of women I'm not putting down what he's, or I'm not picking up what he's putting down. So that's okay. There
That's
are lots of
okay. I'm a
women in
full-blown
America.
lesbian and I want Tyler C in my body.
Yeah, there's a lot of women
Mhm.
who feel that way. I mean, most of my friend group absolutely loves him. And
Yeah, so that's good. You can leave Tyler C for the rest of us.
yeah, all y'all can enjoy him.
Let's
But
talk
yeah,
about Katie. Katie gets this date. She gets to meet Tyler C. She gets to finally see if there's a romantic connection between her and Matt. And so what does he do? He takes her on the hottest, sexiest, most romantic date where they get to prank his best friend and not touch each other at all.
yeah. I mean, like how Matt was saying, how he wishes that he had Tyler before every date so it could put him in a really good headspace. I think Katie needed somebody for this as well, because you can see at the beginning of
Yes.
the date how she's just really struggling to. To me, it feels like it's like struggling to be authentic in her reactions, like wanting to be excited for this date and like wanting a certain outcome, and it really comes across a little awkward. And so
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I imagine if these girls also had like coaches who like put them in the best headspace. Like with Katie, I probably would have anchored her in with a technique called anchoring into feeling confident so that she could be her best self coming into this. And like she said,
Yeah.
this process makes her feel weak, and like I would want to dismantle some of that around, like what about this process is making you weak? When do you feel strong? Like, or how do you want to
Yeah.
come into your date? If it's confident, strong, or whatever, because it's a very different side of Katie than what we see with the
So
women.
she seems so much more confident in like the way she can deal with like interpersonal relationship with friends, with these women that she's living with. It's very obvious to her who is acting as the mean girl and who is disrupting the harmony in the house and da da da. So we've seen her as this like strong, amazing, sex positive coach character in this house. And then it's a little I don't think she was coming into it from a bad place, but it was just like we've seen she doesn't have that same confidence with Matt. She doesn't have that same level of like she doesn't know where she stands. Like she's not as self-assured. She can't like suss out all the different things. So like we do just see a different side
Yeah.
from
And it's almost
her.
like this communication method. I know I've talked about this book before, but getting real by Dr. Susan Campbell, where it's communicating to control rather than communicating to relate. And I think with the
Yes.
women, communicates to relate, and with Matt, it is almost communicating to control because she's trying to control an outcome. If I heard that I was getting on this date with him, and instead of going into a spa and getting couples massage where we ended up touching on each other at the end and making out, like how every other spa date goes in this franchise, I would be livid. And I would be like, that's
You
a
know
really
the
cute.
girls who get the weird dates. Like if you get a weird girl date, it's not because they want to be your husband. Like they pick you for the Cinderella date if they want to be your husband.
I would have said, that's a really cute date idea. But how about this one? How about I go get a massage and I go
You
get
and
a
Tyler have
facial,
a good time.
and you can touch on your boyfriend Tyler, and then
And give your friend Tyler a facial.
ooh, and I'd be like, set me up.
If I'm not going on a romantic date with you, send me home.
I don't want
Send me home.
to do this little friendship prank date and be the third wheel on your romantic time for you to end up massaging your best friend while I stand there awkwardly
And watch. She definitely, I haven't done a ton of like research into Katie, but I know she was like she had like a lot of cool TikToks before she came onto the show. And she has touted herself from like what I've heard is like being a good communicator with men. She's like the cool girl who's like friends with the boys, doesn't always get along with the women because of the shit we've seen. This has probably been her experience. So I'm sure production was like, oh, Katie will be like a cool girl to have on this date. But in the like scenario of Matt and Katie's relationship, like this is not at all what we need. Matt's like, I want to know like how she is as a romantic partner. So I'm going to take her to prank my best friend where we don't touch at all and like get to know each other in the slightest.
There's no intimacy because they're staring at Tyler throughout the whole date. They're looking through a screen and maybe like holding hands. And I mean, I'm going to have to screenshot Matt's face because it's so funny. The whole time he's going,
oh yeah, he's going,
he has the best faces through the whole
he's so happy for his friend. He's so like just filled with joy to be with Tyler C. And I'm just like, just fuck already and call it a day.
Yeah. It's hilarious to me that Matt is the first one to introduce the nipple play in this weird little date where he's like, oh yeah, rub around his nipples.
As a retired massage therapist myself, I was like, this is offensive.
Yeah. If I was just cringing for Tyler that this was happening because I feel like that's crossing a lot of lines that
yeah, it was only like an hour-long massage, but like she touched his nipples, she mounted him. You're supposed to keep one foot on the floor at all times as a massage therapist. You're obviously not supposed to take a phone call.
yeah, there was a lot of stuff.
Guess who I'm massaging. Obviously, we all know we were all in on the joke. Tyler C came around, was also in on the joke.
It was an excuse to make him topless.
Yeah, but we got him face down. I would like to have him supine with his abs showing, please.
Yeah, I'm very shocked that we didn't get more shirtless stuff from him.
I wanted like a belly on belly like meditation between him and Matt. I just want their porn. I know I've said it lots of times, but I just want their OnlyFans. If this doesn't work out with his choice, I hope Matt and Tyler C
just own up to it.
Start an OnlyFans
together. Yeah.
Even queer bait me. I would sign up and pay for all of that, even if you're not even gay together.
Yeah.
I'm so horny. I need to check myself. But then, okay, then we get to the night portion.
Yeah.
I
Which
will say I'm confused at the last two. So Piper's one-on-one, she was in like a high neck turtleneck, which I hate a turtleneck. And then Little Miss Katie was also in a sweater. Like, I think the night portion of these dates are to show a little skin
no
and
sex.
have emotional conversation. Obviously, it worked out with Piper, but the big sweater that Katie wore was not in her favor.
No.
Matt picks up the rose and goes, psych.
Yeah. But I feel like she lands in this portion. I mean, she lands on Matt. I mean, does this woman win the gold medal in Bachelor history for the long jump as she leaps?
The longest, tallest jump. She's like the cutest little koala bear.
Yeah, just it's impressive. Just how she's
she does
able
it twice. She does it like when she sees him at the day portion, she sees him at the night portion. When she sees him on the group dates, like
yeah, she's always jumping
read
on
the script, and she is the leg wrapper koala bear.
Yeah, she's our koala bear. Which I feel like that's a romantic side of her intimacy.
I mean, I don't think Katie is bad at sex positivity. I don't think she's bad at intimacy. I think the chemistry between Matt and Katie is just not there. It's just not there, and that's okay.
What was that dildo? What did her in? Because he makes a joke about it again to Tyler where he says it's a cactus-sized dildo.
I am in Texas, the land of cacti, and that made me laugh really hard.
It's super funny visual, but it's like, oh, ouch, and then what kind of cactus? Like, I'm sure you meant the long, spindly ones, but it was just funny that
cactus is cacti come in all shape and size, Matt.
I know, it was just kind of, it felt a little shamey, but then he quickly made up for that statement. But was that it? But I think she has the healthiest viewpoint on relationships where she says, I want to find somebody where we accept each other where we are and then we grow from there. I was like, yeah.
Beautiful. I mean, I think she is like the healthiest, rational, most well-adjusted person we've seen on this show in a while. Well, Tayshia's up there too.
She's really great. I mean,
besides Tayshia, she's obviously the queen that we love.
Yeah, I mean, they're both very high up there of boundaries and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he just basically picks up the rose and just blank stares at her while she's opening herself up. And just goes,
you were honest by bringing your cactus-sized dick into this house. So I think I should be honest with you. And I'm going to put this rose down and grab you by the hip and take you to the car.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to walk you out. And she's just dumbfounded.
She just shuts down. Like, I don't think it's a bad thing, but she's like, I'm not going to expend, to me, it just read as like, I'm not going to expend any more energy of like trying to make you like me if I'm not your choice. Like,
well, and it's a lot of processing in the moment because I don't think she saw that coming.
No, she was so excited.
And I think she really has a classy exit though, because like she said during that date, even if it's not me, I want to support you and I want to always like, come from a good place with you. And so when he walks her to the car, she still gives him a hug and she says, there's a lot of great girls still in this house and I really hope you find what you're looking for.
Yeah, she definitely she didn't have any kind of like negative response. Like it was definitely just how she was feeling and she was being really logical. And I think that's great. My goal is to always like, when I was younger, I was not the most logical, rational, level-headed person in a breakup. And like, I did a lot of like really bad behaviors. Now I'm not like the best at it still, but I keep my reactions to the other person breaking up with me minimal, and then I beat the shit out of myself.
I think it's like a pendulum. Like you swung one way really hard and now you're swinging the other way, and maybe somewhere you'll find this balance of It's nobody's
It's fine
fault.
where we can stop this little.
Yeah. You just find a middle ground of it's nobody's fault, but you can be sad and they can be sad. And just, as long as everybody's just being very kind to each other through that process of separation,
Yeah.
that's all you can ask
I
for.
mean, I think that's great. You are not normal. You are kind in your response to the partner because it's not really their fault. I mean, unless they fully cheated on you and like hurt you in a big way, or
Unless they
like
were really shitty to you.
yeah, in this circumstance with Matt and Katie, obviously he wasn't like very shitty to her. And so she's able to just be like, this isn't the one for me. I'm sure she goes home and just like talks trash to all her friends, I hope. And, or like just gets like the steam out of the pot and all that good stuff. What she does say in the moment that I really love, she was like, yeah, I mean, those feelings don't just go away. Like I have been sitting here painting a picture of what our future will look like. And I just found out that he doesn't see that future. So now is this painting just erased? So now she's dealing with that like very hard juxtaposition, that very hard line of like, that's gone. That future that you were thinking about and hoping for has kind of nowhere to go. Like, what do you do with all that energy now?
Yeah.
I need to know for me personally.
Asking for a friend.
Yeah, like I need it for me.
Yeah, I mean it's that feels like a very visual metaphor, and metaphors can be very powerful. And from my training, I've learned that you can actually play with those visual metaphors that you're seeing in your brain. And I actually like had fun playing with this on myself last week. That sounded oddly sexual.
Well, we are talking about Katie and her cactus size vibrator. We are sex positive women in this bar.
Positive. But you can actually you can have a coach do this, but you can also do this as well. Is you can work with that image. So in her brain, this future that she's created with this man, you can also play with that. It may necessarily doesn't need to be Matt, but maybe take note of all of the things that you were seeing. And if those are things that you want, you can have that with somebody. It's just somebody that needs to also want those same things. And those are conversations that these girls should be having. And so instead of fantasizing and creating a future that only you want, I think it's also how can you stop creating a fantasy of people and falling in love with potential? How can you just meet somebody and just take them for what they are in the moment and start building those pictures together? And maybe it's just sharing that image that you had with that the next person, and finding somebody who's compatible and sees those same things.
Absolutely. I would say this show, I mean, I do this every time I date whoever I've decided to like catch feelings for. They don't know this. I don't say this out loud, but like they're my number one fantasy. They are the person in the picture. They have no choice. They're going to be painted here.
Yeah.
But on the show, I'm in the context of the show with the minimal amount of time that you get with the lead, like it's really difficult to be able to paint that picture together. Like you're mostly painting that picture in your interviews with your producer, right? Like thinking about, okay, Katie, what do you think about The Bachelor? And da, 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 da. So that's probably, I think she's like a really rational, logical, like intelligent person. I still think she is all of those things, but I think how can you not get caught up in like the fantasy of this person? And you also like just to be open in the conversations, kind of have to see yourself as like the main one, like the number one person.
Yeah. I mean, we all see ourselves as the main character.
We should all be our protagonist in your own love story. I'm not. I'm like that weird girl down the street that offers help.
You're Kiki and Kiki's delivery service.
It's me.
But yeah, like I do think that this show really tries to, whether they're intentional or not, cast people who are a level of fantasy addict or some level of love addict, codependent. And to me, Katie reads as in that moment when she talks about that as somebody who is a recovering fantasy addict of some kind because of her previous relationships with her ex-partners, that one day she woke up and was self-aware and said, I'm not being my best self.
Yeah, I'm
And
not being treated how I want to be in this relationship.
and I need to leave this situation, and I want to be with someone who brings out the best in me and that I bring out the best in them as well. And I think that really can start a really lovely journey for people.
Journal and a journey.
Yeah, I mean, I know that I'm a recovering codependent type, and I often will find myself falling into old habits that I have now the tools to work myself out of. So these are very young girls who maybe have no vocabulary on these things, who are being fed into these fantasies, like Katie
Absolutely.
probably was. And
Well,
it can be
Katie, I mean, let's
dangerous.
just say for a second, like Katie is 29,
Mhm.
but I think this process is just a mind fuck. Like she was able to keep
Absolutely.
herself, she was able to coach and therapy and rationalize herself in her dynamics with the women because she wasn't in love with any of them. But I think she caught feelings for Matt, and it was really hard for her to represent herself how she wanted to be. I'm pushing all of this onto her. I don't know if that's how she feels, but like
I mean, yeah,
that's
this
my
is all we
experience from
can.
watching her date with Matt.
Mhm.
And can I just say, this is not a spoiler pod, but it's a
Spoiler, pause.
spoiler.
You
We
can
have
end right
spoilers.
here if you don't
All
want
we're
to
going to talk
know.
about is Heather and the preview after this, but like, spoiler, they filmed Women Tell All this week,
Mhm.
and they announced at the Women Tell All, because we're not going to have like a live after the final rose and all this good stuff, they announced that Katie will be our next Bachelorette. And my sister was like, oh, I don't know if I like that. And I was like, no, she's not logical with the men. I mean, not
No.
with the men. She's not logical with Matt. She's logical. She's able to like rationalize and logic herself with the women. But like, I think she's going to give us so many levels and so many different, like, I think she's healed herself through therapy
Mhm.
mostly, but I think there are some blind spots that production is going to uncover immediately.
Yeah, you don't
And we're
know
going to
until
get a
those.
wild ass season for sure.
Yeah, you don't know until in the moment when triggers pop up and you got to deal with them, and you don't have your therapist there
Yeah.
to walk you through
Yeah.
them, and you got to wait until the next week to talk about it. But yeah, I think that there's lots of good stuff there. And I mean, she's going to have a little bit of time to potentially work with her therapist at home before her season even starts taping, where she can start to try to do some extra loving work, probably dissecting some of what happened on Matt's season. And hopefully, I mean, I still think no matter what, you can still have messy men and have a healthy bachelorette like our dear
Yes.
Tisha.
Yes. They love to do that too. Like, I mean, that's why we get so many wild, problematic women on The Bachelor, is because like the lead has to look like they have their shit together, and we have to create chaos somewhere else. I'm really excited, but what is weird is like, Sammie, we have like 10 women left. We have 10 really cool, viable
No, we have like
women.
not. Oh wait, no, Heather counts as 10.
Can we
I
count
was like,
Heather? What if
yeah.
Heather's the next Bachelor?
They're just like, gotcha. You thought it was Katie? Oh, you
Who
wanted
the
a
fuck
twin?
is Heather?
Yeah, they're not really giving Heather a good edit.
Heather's going to be walked out immediately. Matt just laughed in her face.
She showed up. Okay, so they cut to her getting ready in her full like fantasy moment of I'm about to meet my husband, where at her.
I need to know how long she's been at Nemacolin.
We
know it looks
in her
like at the beginning,
motel.
it looks like it's the beginning of week 6 that she arrives, but maybe she arrived week 3 and they're painting her as this like wild whatever. I'm imagining, I don't know exactly what their COVID protocol is, but I would imagine everyone gets to quarantine for 2 weeks.
I think
If you want to have a safe set, then Heather needed to quarantine for 2 weeks. We do not see that. We do not see that at all.
I
We
mean,
hope
Chris,
we see her interviews that she's maybe taken 2 COVID tests.
yeah,
But like,
which that could be weekly. Those should be, yeah. And then, I mean, Chris even said, like, I can't approve this. Matt can't approve it.
Normally, I am the god of this show. But on this circumstance, because of COVID, I have to pass it up the chain. And it's like, Chris, that you would have to pass it up the chain any other time.
This is not your call.
Cool. You're a con just like everybody else is. Like,
yeah. And yeah, he says, like, it wouldn't be today, obviously. We can't. So I
mean, when we've had past contestants come to meet the lead, like they literally roll into set and they meet the lead that day.
It's immediate. So I think we can conjecture that they're trying to keep things safe because they would get called out so fast if they weren't. This would get leaked. So I would say probably, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, something, because she's acting like she needs human interaction. I get like that after.
Yeah, but listen, I get a day.
She had a phone. I would have been fine in a hotel room. Does she have a phone,
or does she have like an iPad with no internet access?
Oh, like a GoPro.
Like we don't know. Yeah, it could be a GoPro or something. We're not sure.
Weird, but yeah. So they show her
if
getting ready.
If she had her phone, she would be texting Hannah B, and Hannah B would be like, "Go home."
What are you doing? She's
a good friend. She would tell her to go the fuck home.
Yeah, hopefully. But yeah, so they show her getting ready, squishing her feet into these little plastic heels. I hate these with her French manicured toes.
Okay, then it's definitely, listen, it's Nemacolin Spa that is giving all these women a square tip French toe, or this is fully back. I don't think anyone with a pedicure should ever be doing a French tip, FYI. That's just like a bit to me. Like, get a dark, solid color, cover your nasty ass nails. That's me hating my nasty ass feet, but just like a French tip, square tip on your toe in a clear plastic shoe.
I die.
I know I feel like production is definitely like giving us like a platter on which to hate Heather, but like it's working. Who the fuck is Heather?
It's just these plastic high heels just seem to cheapen all of these garments. Like MJ had them on during her 2-on-1 with that naval jacket. It was
like, girl, I almost bought a pair of these at Nordstrom last year. Like these clear shoes I didn't do it. My sister was like, "No, trash, don't buy that." So I didn't buy it. Trash. But like, I also have sweaty feet, and so if I have Blister one moment of heat, Blister City, and also foggy ass shoe, like
it's just not a cute look.
Low-rise jeans and clear ass heels should never be a thing. Like, let's all just sign a petition that like we're not allowing them back in our world. It's not okay. Yeah.
No, I agree. I do not like this trend. And it fully cheapens your gown, Heather. That is stunning.
And you already did the research. You said that was like $1,000 gown.
It was something
the beading alone, like the work that they had to do on the beading was.
Yeah, she had little daisy crystals all over her boobies.
So cute. But the women are not loving that she's here, which fair.
Yeah.
It is deep into like week 6. I don't even know how many rose ceremonies we've had because the filming and the editing has been wild. Yeah.
But
Piper is sitting down with Matt. I'm sorry, I'm interrupting you. You go.
Oh, no. I was gonna say, what was I gonna say? They have her they have her drive herself to the ceremony, and the girls didn't react well the first time we added girls in. So
wait, can we talk about her driving? I know Nemacolin is big, so obviously there are streets in Nemacolin and they're driving around, but I was having a full driving panic. She was driving past the big rose ceremony place and she kept looking and I was like,
rubbernecker,
what's it about?
You guys cause accidents, you rubbernecker.
Also, producers, you're allowing her to look over there. You're ruining lives and you're ruining minivans.
she just was like, oh my gosh, wow, like not looking where she was going. And yeah,
Best
so
for her.
she had to
Also, a
drive
great thing
herself.
for them to show us if we want to hate Heather, which I think they want us to hate Heather.
I think so too. Because yeah, these girls, instead of directing their anger at 4 people, it's now directed at one girl. And it's a lot of anger that's been stored up in these little bodies that they're just like,
I would be so triggered. Like, you can only be classy with one extra add-on.
yeah.
At
Yeah.
what point do you like crack?
Yeah, this is a breaking point, especially the girls who probably know that they aren't faring too well in this rank of
Even
women.
Piper, who has a rose, who had like a great one-on-one, who has a rose, literally walks back to the women and is like, what the fuck?
Yeah, she's pissed. And I mean, honestly, though, when Heather was interrupting that date, it was literally the most boring conversation. He was saying, I like to eat my dessert first before my meal. I always eat cookies. Like, it was something super
They were
dumb.
talking about like what normal life would look like, which of course is important to know, but also, girl, you have a rose. Let
You're
this
fine.
random dumb hoe enter the party.
It's a lot of emotion for safe.
But like, also look at Matt's reaction to Heather coming into this party.
He doesn't pay attention to her and then finally acknowledges her, cackles, falls behind Piper cackling, and then goes, Heather?
Like, he's like, I know who you are, and production is fucking with me, and I don't have the wherewithal to deal with this.
So he laughs in her face and she awkwardly goes, can I talk to you for a minute? Piper, give me like 5 minutes, girl.
She's quarantined in her hotel for so long. And the best thing she can say to him, she goes to the good old classic, can I steal you for a second?
Can I like talk for a minute? And yeah, he just goes, give me 5 minutes, Piper. We'll continue.
Piper, I will be back in 5 minutes. I just have to send Heather home. I don't know who allowed her to come here.
Yeah.
Hannah B is trolling me. Piper, I'll be back in 5 minutes.
If he told Katie he can't see himself reaching the same level as with these other girls, how the fuck is Heather gonna catch up?
Who the fuck is Heather?
I mean, this poor girl. We see her in the upcoming episodes just crying and saying people are very mean. And I mean,
to be fair, she's wearing her same beautiful gown. So let's just say she's going to be like, these girls are mean. I went through one rose ceremony and I went home and these girls are so mean.
I mean, there's lots of choice words about the situation. Somebody says they're going to be sick. I think it was Rachel. Another Serena.
The ladies watching her, Heather, walk up to the door. Also, the bit they left in of her not being able to open the door. We are not supposed to like Heather.
No,
Heather,
I mean, to me that was endearing.
That Heather is stupid.
Yeah, she couldn't open a rotating door, which is just like, oh.
Yeah, but it was closed. So like when they do those rotating doors, they have the 2 that go across and then the 2 that are like just kind of floating. And they had obviously rotated those 2 doors to be together. So she was pushing through like a double door instead of I mean, it was tough.
Yeah, they made her look real dumb.
And they left it in for all of us to see. Yeah.
Serena P says, if she gets a rose, I will like scream or I will be enraged. I will be enraged.
Girl, same. I would be fully enraged.
I mean, to me, I'm like, I would want him to explore other relationships with women that are attractive because at the end, if I truly do want to marry this person, I want to know definitively that I'm it. If I'm going to be
exactly, you don't want him to think like, well, I actually might have been able to marry Heather, but like I knew these women were going to be so pissed, so I didn't let her in. So and now I'm proposing to my final choice, but there's like this little teeny tiny nugget in the back of my head that like, who the fuck is Heather?
Who the fuck is Heather?
Who the fuck is Heather?
So maybe I slide into her DMs while we're in this down period when the show's airing, and I try to figure out who the fuck is Heather.
You think
I
he's
mean,
doing that right now?
I would. No, I wouldn't. So it just goes off the rails quickly. Just when the girls were settling into no drama, here comes drama because you're on it.
Just like you said, Sammie, we're going to keep that trauma train rolling.
I mean, it's a roller coaster train. If you've seen them,
rolling.
Yeah, it's rolling with the haters.
Rolling with my homies. I mean, listen, I know we're only here for paradise. We're only here for paradise. And so these seasons are going to be hard, but like,
I'm over it.
I'm over it. I hope, I think The Bachelorette is really where it's at. And I think Paradise is really where it's at. I think Katie's season is going to be
it will be
super interesting. And obviously she's not like opposed to dating different races because she's here having a nice time with Matt. Like, I think she'll be a really, really good lead. It will be interesting. Like, if I was production and I was hella petty, I would be like, yeah, we're going to pick Katie because she thinks she's logical and rational and we're going to ruin her. So I hope that doesn't happen. I hope that's not the case.
Yeah, don't give her the Claire edit. Please, let's go for another Acacia season.
Yes. So fingers crossed we get very good activities. We have what looks like a pretty dramatic episode coming up. And also, I mean, this is kind of how the seasons always go for me. It feels like there's 50 women until it's hometowns. And they said on this trailer, they were like, and hometowns are in 2 weeks. I was like,
2 weeks?
2 weeks? There are 25 women here.
Yeah.
Or there's only 10 now.
I somewhere within the last few episodes, if I wasn't doing this podcast, I probably would have fell off watching because I would have been episode 3. I would have dropped off because I was so emotionally exhausted by everything.
Yeah.
That happens to me every season. About 3 episodes in, I lose my luster and I'm like, oh, there's so many problematic people. This is so triggering. I can't do this.
I keep in until the very last episode. I would love to look at a stat of my own viewing history to see how many finales I've missed. Because like, that's where I finally, I will put myself through everything else because I feel like there's new information coming in. We get like the women tell all, the men tell all like the good juicy bits, but the finale, I have no desire. I've usually already like I've already like given up and looked into who the ending choice was or found out on accident who the final pick was. So we'll see if we make it. You think we're going to make it to finale and after the final rose?
I mean, I think that having this podcast forces us to keep going.
And it's our job now.
We're professionals. But I think at some point we'll probably dive into some of these other dating shows. I would love to do Love on the Spectrum. I'd love to do Love Island because I just recently binged season 2 of the American season. And that had lots of fun things to dive into. So maybe we'll touch base on some of those things.
Yeah, I definitely think like as we move forward in the future, like it would be good to look at these other dating shows because they're not just about production and ratings and fucking everybody over. Like they might actually be about people finding love. No.
So this episode ends with Serena P being fed that Matt does karate and asking him to perform his karate.
I love Serena P, but like this felt real strong, like no more Maggie.
Yeah, it would have been, this scene would have been so funny with Maggie, like way funnier with Maggie because she would have just trolled him. Serena was trying so hard to give him what he wanted, which was so awkward and like, okay, hold it this way, hold it that way. No, I want you to just like awkward pose. Now one arm. And Maggie would have just dropped the pillow and said, forget it. And then said, that's great. That's great.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it was, It just made her absence felt. And I strive for that in all my
I want to be Maggie. I want to troll everyone I'm dating at all times.
Yeah.
That's why I'm single. And Maggie's off the show.
I know. I mean, it was just, oh God. And him, Mr. like prank master, it was great that with that context now to look back at all the ways that Maggie was actually just pranking and trolling him and him not
Maybe
even.
she was a plant from Tyler C.
Maybe.
Maybe she is, because we've never seen Maggie and Tyler C.
In the same room, so they're the same person? Maggie is operating a Tyler robot?
I love that for her. I mean, listen, we need Maggie on Paradise. We need Abigail on Paradise. We need Abby and Maggie and Abby and Abigail and Maggie Gale to fall in love.
I see Brittany making it on Paradise. Do you think MJ or Victoria will make it?
Yeah, we are not safe from these ladies. They are gonna come back. They are not gone. Victoria is absolutely gonna come back because she needs a redemption arc. MJ is gonna want a redemption arc.
Yeah, Victoria's Instagram is live again with less than 1,000 followers.
Did she go private and erase all her followers?
I don't know. I think a lot of people dropped her. Well, I don't know. I mean, did people just drop her? I don't know.
I mean, if she went dark, like if she went fully dark, like that will, I mean, who knows? Whatever. We don't need her to have clout. We don't need the
No, it just was really fascinating that she came back after her week thinking that all of us forgot about her because Rachel's got the firestorm on her.
Yeah.
Seems like very interesting timing.
There was definitely, so Ashley Spivey and Reality Steve in their little conversation when they were talking about the new Bachelorette, they were like, has this ever been, not that it's been publicly announced, but they were like, has this ever been like leaked or decided upon, told to this early, like, is this a choice on the production of ABC and Warner Brothers to kind of like get our attention off of Rachel and onto another girl?
It could be.
We don't know.
I mean,
either way, I'm pumped for his Katie.
Can't wait. Season. I'm like ready for the season to be done. I'm already done with it. I feel
like Matt knows who he wants to pick, like send Sammie home.
Sammie home. You already know what you want? Sammie home.
Sammie home.
So yeah, I'm kind of done with the season. We'll keep giving our coverage, of course, and all of our fun tidbits. But yeah, thanks for hanging out with us. This was a long one. And
another week of more labies. We're hoping to keep our labies nice and brief next week, but we never know.
Never know with us.
We thought there's going to only be 10 women on this episode, but then we had like every new day this week was like a new introduction of Bachelor Tea. I mean, I think obviously this show, they've been asking production, they've been asking of this show, like the whole reason we have Matt James is because there was like this huge petition to have a Black Bachelor, to have a more diverse product. I mean, they were asking for more things, but what the Bachelor gave us was a Black Bachelor. We need more diverse production. We need Chris Harrison out of there. He's a benevolent white supremacist who cannot carry this show anymore.
No,
House
it's
Hunters
over.
will take you back. I guarantee it.
I mean, just don't be on TV. You have enough money.
Yeah, you're kind of right. He does. And he also said, he gets it from both sides. So maybe he just needs to like go home,
take a breath,
live in his bachelor mansion and just learn some things about anti-racism.
Yeah, think about your life, think about your choices, definitely.
Every day. I mean, I also say, like, listen, people don't like cancel culture or whatever, and we're not saying we're going to cancel Chris Harrison. We're just saying don't make him the spokesperson for this show. Yeah. Because nobody wants it. I don't see anyone supporting Chris Harrison. I see people trolling the women and supporting the women, and not one thing about Chris Harrison except trolls.
No, I
Continue
mean,
to troll his ass.
it's just anybody who's like a traditionalist or just really into the nostalgia that he's always been the host, but I'm okay with him leave. He's gonna have to leave at some point. Either the show gets canceled or he retires or he dies or, you know, any of those things. So why not now? Like, not kill him, but why not replace him
We
with
can stay alive. That's what we'll give Chris Harrison. We're not going to murder you, but it's time for you to go. We need a changing of the guard.
You're just
He's the varsity squad, and we need to bring in the JV.
Yeah, well, we need the varsity. He's JV. Like,
That's true. He is now JV. He's aged out. It is time.
Yeah, he's a relic and a dinosaur from a different period of television history, and I think it's time that we just move on and have diversity. I would love for you could have two different hosts for The Bachelor and The Bachelorette. You could have a woman on one, and you can have a man. You can have a person of color. Like, just
I would like a constant. I think I would like a constant through, but that's just my anxiety talking.
I don't know.
Like, I want to know what I'm getting at least a little bit every time I tune into this show.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
No.
I mean, this to me just feels like such a feminine show. So somebody who is just femme identifying in some capacity, I feel like would just really make this a lot more grounded for me. I don't know.
Even the torch, like, give him like a little assistant. Yes. She is the most followed she's the most followed Black woman contestant on The Bachelor. I don't have they didn't have stats on the men when they were doing their live realities.
But I think she just is a very healthy choice. And
also she's coupled up in like a very good relationship. Like, we don't have to worry about her falling in love with a contestant.
Or do we?
But yeah, I mean, it's time for him to retire. He's working on his other projects. He can write weird, kinky. I'm not saying weird, kinky, like kinky is bad, but like, I think his book is weird and it's kinky. So it's a weird, kinky book. And also he can do his weird man bands.
It's a weird choice for him to write. I think it's from a female perspective. We'll read this book because I definitely bought the Kindle version for $3. So
we made the investment, so you will be getting a return on our investment, everybody.
So,
well, I want to do one call to action. Sign up for this Anti-Racist Daily. Follow Ashley Spivey. And do you want to be our producer?
Yeah.
DM us. Hit us up.
I wish I were a better editor. If you can do a better job, please
see me. Whenever I say, do you want to be a producer, I'm never, ever, ever, ever shitting on your things.
No.
But we just like to chit chat, and we want someone else to do the behind the scenes for us. We want to be the talent, and we want someone else to put it together for us.
Yeah, put it together, and then also keep us on topic, because we absolutely love to talk. This is a 2-hour runtime, probably. Might be more than that now.
I lost my train of thought for maybe 15 minutes.
And that's okay.
Yeah, we need
direction. Love a producer. We need a producer to just lead us and hold us by the hip and guide us to our couch.
Make sure we hit our mark. Okay.
Because we're silly girls and we don't have brains.
Also, if you brought diversity to the pod, that would also be good, because Sammie and I
love that.
We can hate ourselves and build up our own knowledge of other things, but we are still our experiences. White, blonde, pretty ladies. Well, we'll be back for another week of this trauma train.
We'll see you every Friday. Hopefully post in the mornings. And stay classy out there, y'all.
Stay classy, podcast world. Also, we are still waiting for Rachel and her statement.
We don't have a statement. So maybe we'll get one by the time
But in
we
the
air.
meantime, don't pressure her. Don't dox her grandma. Don't comment on her page asking why she's so racist. Just give her some grace, give her some time
It's
to come
coming.
around and release a statement she wants to, but ABC told her no. It's getting there. Anyway,
Or-
I keep thinking that our sign-offs are so long and it's me that's making them so long. So anyway, love you. It's almost paradise. Have a nice day.
Bye.
Bye.